tangled up. Right, I'm getting some bullshit on my Streamlabs now, saying that my daily limit has been exceeded, which is a lot of crap because I haven't even live streamed from my phone for about 2 days. I used Adobe Flash Media Live Encoder to do my live streaming, which I'm using right now. And so Streamlabs is being a bitch right now. This is what happens when you update and you end up with some bullshit, and so I'm not very happy right now because I need to really downgrade or something or go back to the old version. But how do you do that? Because you go to the App Store and you can't find it. That's why I like computers. Oh, I'm sure I'm using my computer right now instead of a frigging... Yeah, I'll show it on me actually. Let me just try and get this on the phone. Right, if I go into Streamlabs, right, to live stream, right, I've put the lens up with my hand, but if I click on here, now look what it says when I click on here. Hang on. Assistant. Notice what happens. See? It won't let me live stream on the phone. So what the hell's with that? I'm going to have to try and figure that out. Maybe somebody on YouTube can tell me what that's about. Maybe if you're watching this video you can explain to me why Streamlabs is telling me that I'm over quota when I'm not over quota. I'm actually using YouTube. I'm streaming to YouTube. On YouTube is working, so what the hell is going on? I'm just going to my live control room on my computer to see what the hell's going on with it. So sorry about the lower quality, whatever, but Streamlabs is being a bitch right now. So yeah, I wanted to explain about right. So this is a new drum that I've just 3D printed. I've been soaking in acetone for about 2 hours to make it to basically make the shell rock hard. Hang on a minute. Let's get everything warmed up here. Right, so this is a new drum, and there's a difference between this drum and the previous drums. The magnet assembly is I've got these little slots in between which are for rectangular magnets, and these magnets are actually the small ones which I'm going to put in there. Basically rotate the field so that we should have less drag. This is the former rotor which has got no magnets in. I started to populate this one, I just started to put some in here actually. You can see there's a difference on this former one, there's a gap there, there's nothing actually in that slot, whereas there's a slot there for some rectangular magnets. So this one's a lot harder, it's going to be a lot harder when it sets because it's still a bit soft actually with acetone, but this is going to be a lot tougher anyway than this one because this is the previous one I did and I acetone treated that, but I've soaked this a lot longer in acetone because of the weaker spot. As long as the shell's really hard, they can't really fly. In fact, I've got super glue on my hand now. Oops! Hang on a minute. I've got some magnets in there, I've got some acetone. Let me just get this glue off my hand, otherwise I'm going to stick my fingers together. I don't know why Streamlabs is being weird all of a sudden. I probably need to go to the Streamlabs website and see what that's all about. So Oh, I've got blooming glue all over my fingers. So, right. So we have these. We're going to put these rectangular magnets, which are these thin ones. These little thin magnets. I'll just move it out of the way. I don't want magnets flying around. So these little magnets aren't very big. They're only 20mm long. And I'm using my calipers for something. I've locked the calipers in place because I need them. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. But they're 5mm in width and 2mm. I think it's 2.5 to 3. I think it's 3mm thick, you know, as in chunky. So these will go in these little slots that will help pull the magnetic field. I don't want to put them in yet because I was going to show you later the difference that they will make, or they do make actually. But you see, the question is will it actually inhibit the power output? But I don't know yet. We'll have to find that out. So I've ordered some more magnets because I only had enough to partially populate this. Obviously I have to get apart. The N52s are very strong. I've only had enough of these magnets to populate part of this. So what I'm doing is I'm just doing the outside ones, and I'm going to wait until the order comes, and then I'm going to finish off the middle ones. But when I put them in place, I use a bit of super glue to hold them in place so that they don't come out. Then I fill the holes later with ABS plastic, which is melted down in acetone, which is in the syringe. So I'll just fill the holes, and then the magnets can't slide out or anything, but yeah, can't slither out. So right, so I've got to put 2 of these each side there, and I use my calipers. This is what I was saying. I've locked them in place right now because I've measured the little stick that sticks out the end, so that I can push the magnets out exactly in the centre. So I just put them there, then push, and that makes sure that the magnets are right in the middle. Oops, because if I go around, it actually touches them on the other side as well. So I've got them. So I'll lock my calipers in place. I'll tighten that little screw at the back. So I don't want to move them around right now. Right, so I've got them in. Two more. What's going on with Streamlabs? I just don't get it. How can I be over quota? It says the daily quota is reset at midnight Pacific Standard Time. What the heck? I haven't used the damn thing today. I was asleep. I woke up. Oh, I haven't used it today, so these are pretty tight actually, but that's a good thing. I want them to be tight so they don't fly out on me. I get the calipers, and oops, the magnets over there are going to fly at me in a minute. I don't want to move this, so I'm going to push the back of the caliper, and I'm pushing it so I don't actually. I think I've moved them. Yeah, I've moved them. Right, just a minute. Let's just set them right again. The ones that are set preset on that end. Right, I'll just set that right. So lock them down again. Those magnets are really tight. Right, I've got those in place. So I've got 6 pairs on this side. Right. So as you move the magnet, you see it rotate like this. This magnet is turning by me rotating the drum. So what I'm doing basically is putting a magnet on the side there, and it collapses the field between the two poles so that the field comes down more quickly. So instead of having a large, well, when we put this thing on there, you see how much flux deflection there is there, and as you come around to the over the pole, it pulls in. Well, the idea is that this having the little rectangular one in between, it will pull those fields down more sharply in the centre, so there'll be less field there. Now, I was testing this earlier with a ball bearing, and basically instead of the ball bearing just jumping across over to that one, right, instead of just flying across, what happened was it would get to the middle and it would kind of fall off, because the field was basically collapsed at that point. So that worked. So that's my theory anyway. That's what I'm going to try out when I finish with this these new rotor designs and get them installed and everything. But you see, I'm going to have to get some more filaments, so it's going to be probably a few weeks, probably a couple of weeks, maybe more, I don't know, because I've got to extend the existing build which is over there, and my existing device which is here, I want to make it a bit longer so I can actually put extra rotors in as well. Instead of having just 2 rotors in, I want to have 3 or 4 and have bearings in between so I can actually, yeah, you get the idea. Let me check, see if I've got the camera back in the right place. It looks like I have. So right, I've got 2 there now. So as I said, as you mount with the rotor, the magnets will flip round as they pass from one field to the other. So we have a rotational effect anyway. Well, right in the middle, there's a strong pull right in the middle there. There's a very strong pull. Now, by having the rectangle in there, it will minimise that. So we should, in theory, have less drag. So I've got to carry on and populate this other side. Maybe if I go to the Streamlabs website account or something, I could find out what's going on there. It said something about quota, but my stuff's going on YouTube, it's not going on Streamlabs. Oh, I don't know anyway. Is it going on Streamlabs? I don't know. We'll have to find that out. So I know I haven't got the magnet space right, so I'm using my calipers to push that one. Don't push that one too far, actually, that one. I'll push that one back a bit. It's all about getting these have got to be balanced as well once I do it. I ordered another 15 magnets because I was about 15 short, and these are friggin' strong, I tell you. So let's see. I'm just going to populate the outside rim. I'll do the inside, as I say, later when the rest arrive. What's the angle of that? That's about there. So if I push them, then I should get the angle about right, the depth about right by the angle. I'll check it now with my calipers. I don't want to disturb the seine. I had to push them a bit more anyway. The little bar that comes out the bottom is very handy for measuring the depth. Okay, so I've got all of the outside rim populated now. Super glue. Put a drop in each hole. Just to make sure that things don't move around. I'm using my screwdriver to move the super glue around, take down the cracks. Incidentally, I'm going to have to dismantle the old rotors, the ones that with the magnets are in there, because I'll need to take them out to put them in the new rotors when I actually print the new ones. And I was thinking the best way of doing that, because there's a bit of a problem. Because I've sealed up the holes with the plastic. I'll just get the other one. Right, this is the one that I did previously, a few years ago. Was it a year ago, 2 years? I can't remember now. It's bloody ages ago. But I've sealed up all the where the magnets go with this plastic. It's rock hard now. It's really rock hard, and it's going to be a job getting the magnets out of there to put them in the new ones. Which the only difference really is those little rectangular slots that are going to be, which are there. And I thought, actually, from past experience, these are very strong. Right, there's these drums, because of the case hardening with the acetone, they're extremely strong, and they're mostly strong in this direction. Sorry, from the centre out, they're actually very strong because of the case. In this circular fashion, they're very strong, but they're very weak in this direction, so I could split them. So if I get a knife and roll the knife around the outside, around this, right down the middle here, if I roll a knife put it on the table and roll it backwards and forwards with a knife, it will split. So the whole half, it'll split into two halves, because that's the weakest point when you split them down the middle. So in theory, I should be able to split this and pull it apart, and then get the magnets out from the middle, instead of having to gouge all this plastic out, which is going to be a bloody nightmare. So instead of having to gouge all that plastic out, I should be able to just roll it and split it with a knife. If that doesn't work, I'll stick it in the vise and beat it with a hammer, but I don't want to break the magnets, you see, so I've got to be careful I don't smash the magnets that are inside, because they actually run right through. There's 25mm of magnet between there and there, and it's not very deep. It's only about 5mm from the surface, from the edge. So if I just roll a knife around there, I should, in theory, because it's mostly just case hardening. The actual outside is very hard, but the inside is actually very soft. So once I split the case around it, I should be able to just split the whole thing out, and it should pull apart. Or I could use a wedge to wedge it, and squeeze a screwdriver, and just twist and push the whole thing and split it into two halves. Then I get all the magnets out and put them in the new ones. You get the idea. But I'm not going to take them out right now because I've got all magnets flying all over the place. Anyway, so this is, I've got, I think it's something sticky. I think the super glue just splashed out when I dropped it on the floor. I've got bits of crap stuck on here now because the magnets are attracting crap. So I'll just get that off here. So when I acetone this, I soaked it to a point where it actually became translucent on the outside. It actually, you could see through it. You could actually see the fibres on the inside there. I don't know if you could see that very well, but I wanted the outside looking extremely well glazed, so it was almost translucent. You could see through it, because when that hardens, it'll be very strong, much stronger than it would normally be, because that's the most important part, is the outside. That's what takes all the stresses of centrifugal forces when they're spinning at up to 8,000 RPM. I don't go that fast anyway. I usually about 5,000 RPM or 6,000 RPM. But I'm going to wait for probably a few weeks for this to dry out thoroughly and really become hard, because the acetone, it takes quite a long time to dry out because it's inside the plastic, so it's got to slowly seep out and it's going to take time. So anyway, I've got those on the rim, just on the, just let the light shine through so you can see. We've just got the magnets on the rim populated, not the ones in the middle. I'll let that empty right now. So what I was talking about, this ball bearing, I should be able to demonstrate that now. So if you stick the ball bearing on here for the moment, like this, and you move it, it will just jump all the way around, look, because it's attraction. The sticking point is right in the middle of the two poles. That's this pole and this pole. So right in the middle, it jumps. That's where it jumps. That is the sticking point right in the middle there. Now, if I get the small rectangular, let me just put these other magnets away. I need to move the camera in a minute because I've stuck the camera on the box that the magnets are in. Just a minute, give me a sec. I'll put these in the box so I don't lose them. I hope the camera doesn't fall off the damn light stand. Right, so now if we get the rectangular magnets, which are over here, this is what I'm talking about. It's trying to overcome that sticking point where we get drag on the system when you. So if I just put one of these, and these are 20 millimeters long, they're not 25, so I need to adjust my calipers now. Let me just work the distance out just a minute. Where's my calculator gone? Undo this. I'll tighten that quite tight. Right, the total distance, the total width of this is 36 millimeters. Right, it's upside down, sorry. So that's 36 millimeters, 36.05, but it's near enough, 36. So what I have to do is, let's see, right, 36 minus 20. Oh, I'm such a dumbass, I could have done that in my head. It's 16, so divide that by 2. And that's 8 millimeters, so it's that bit I needed to sum up really. But so 8 millimeters, so I need to bring this to 8 millimeters on the caliper. .09, I think that's near enough. Lock it down with that screw and get my rectangular magnet. Now this, it will flip over as you turn it, look. It flips over naturally, it wants to do. So when I stick the magnet down the slot, it will naturally be attracted in the middle and it should collapse that field. I'm just going to put one in for now because I want to see the difference. I'm going to compare it between the one that has it and the ones that don't. So if I push that in to 8mm, make sure it stays in and it's not going to stick to this. Yeah, we've got 8mm deep, so that should be right in the middle. Let's go to the other side. Yeah, I can feel the magnetic field there, so it's... it has moved a bit. Yeah, that's 8mm deep, anyway. I'm going to put a blob of super glue in there because I don't want it moving. Right. I shouldn't need to do the other side. It's just to anchor it until for later on I can actually start to put some plastic in there. Right, that I use my knife to work that super glue around in the hole. Let's make sure it hasn't moved. I'll go and measure it from the other side. I don't stick super glue on my caliber. Yes, it's still in a good place. So now, because there's that magnet there, it will pull that field in more. I hope. Oh yeah, it's weaker. It is weaker. That is weaker. Right in the middle there, it's not pulling much there at all in the middle. Normally it's really strong. If I go there, it's pulling a lot. If I go to the bottom there, if I just put this at the bottom, it keeps jumping to either one of the poles, you see, but right in the middle there, it's pulling there. But with the other magnet, where that magnet is in the middle, it's weak because it's collapsing the field more, which is good. The further out I go, the weaker it's going to be. Now that's an advantage because it helps to alleviate the sticking point. That's what I'm thinking. That's the theory. I don't suppose I could show you on the compass because I think the field is just too strong. But if I move this a fair distance away, let's get this compass. Now let's just see. Oh, it's just going to show the north and south poles. It's not really going to tell me. No, it's not going to work. The compass isn't going to help because it's not going to show you the middle point. The only thing I really use to measure that is my gauge, I suppose. Let's just check the difference between. Right, my magnetic gauge. Now, when I get to the middle, when we get past the middle of this, where this rectangle magnet is, it just starts to move there. Look, there's a magnet there. That's the magnet in the slot. So when we get to this point here, let's compare it now to one that doesn't have that rectangular magnet in it. Let's go around. Let's see what happens. We should get a much bigger jump. See how far I went? I actually got to this magnet before. I actually got right to this magnet here before it moved. But on the other one with the magnet in the middle, remember the poles are alternating, so it'll be different on this side, but as I go on this side, it moves earlier, look. So get to the middle, it starts to move about here, at this point here. So it's definitely making a difference. You can see the difference it's making. So it's actually moving earlier than being like that. So being like that, and it doesn't shut off, doesn't cancel, this doesn't pull back in until I get to there. Right, so let's move that around. I'm trying to keep this centered. You see the difference? I got right the way to this point here before that started to move. So there's a big difference just by having that little rectangular magnet there. It makes a hell of a difference. Let me just get that calculator out of the way. I can't see my preview because I'm not sure if I'm showing it on the camera very well. yeah, I think this is going to help a lot. So I'll go around here to the centre of the point, that's where the strongest field is, and this deflects completely right the way across. I need to draw a line around here so that I don't keep drifting around. So I'm going to draw a line around my rotor because I keep moving. And I can keep it in the hole. Keep that ring, I can keep it inside that ring. Right, so let's put this gauge back here. Let's hold this still. Turn. Right, that's got no magnet in the middle. I had to get all the way to here. Now let's turn. To be in that circle. Now this is the one with the magnet in it, this one here. Actually, tell you what, let me just get my, let me get my pen. This is the one I've got the magnet in right now. I'm just going to draw a circle around. I don't know, oh, you can't see that. That's really, let's use blue. That should show up. Yeah, I realise red on pink doesn't exactly stand out very much. Okay, right, let's just do this again. Right, let's start over here. Go back. And it moves in when it's right on the attraction side there. Let's move back. And it starts to move just a little bit earlier. There. So it's actually right on that edge there, I think. Anyway, let's go to the one that doesn't have that magnet in it. Try to get this in the middle, it's tricky. I'm going on a shaft. I don't want anything interfering with the experiment. Right, I've got a lot further in on this side before this started to move. And I've got all the way to this point here before that went and moved back. It starts to move there. Let's take the full deflection. Now let's see when it moves back. All the way to there before it moved back. Let's go around to the other side and deflect it. Let's go around there. Let's come back this way. It moved back just before there without the deflect. So it's a stronger field. There's a stronger field around this intersection between the two poles without the magnet there. So that gauge shows that, but the ball bearing, I can feel it. There is a very strong between those two there. Now, if I go to where the magnet is that's intersecting the two things on this side, let's see if it'll fall off. Let's see if it'll actually fall off. It nearly did. I could feel it. It's actually, it's very weak there. It's hardly touched at all. Right at this point here, very weak. I don't know if I can measure that. I don't know if I can measure that with a scale. Because of the magnetic field, it will interfere with it. But let's see. Can can I do that with a scale? I want to see what the difference is. I want to measure the weight. Give me a minute. I know what I can use. I've got these small. Oops, that wasn't stuck on there. I thought it was. Should have been stuck on. I stuck these ball bearings on there yesterday. Oh, they're obviously not stuck on right. That one seems to be stuck on. So this ball bearing is stuck on the end of a piece of plastic. So what I can do is get my scale and get some blue tack. See if I can actually get this stuck onto the scale without damaging my scale, if I can help it. I don't want to break it. Right, so I've got the scale, I've got this stuck on with blue tack at the bottom. So if I put this directly above, this is the one with the magnet on it. If I just put this directly over there, we should see a minus reading. Right. At that intersection where that other magnet is, we're seeing a minus. Oh, it's jumping around a lot. Oh, you can't see it anyway. Just a minute, let's put it like this. Can you see that? Oh, I don't know if you can see it. It's not zoomed in very well. Got light reflection on here as well. I've got a minus reading of minus 9 grams of that middle. Now if I can turn this without moving my hand, which is the tricky part, I'm just going to release my fingers and turn this. And look at that, 25 grams at the intersection where there's no magnet in the middle. So there's a big difference in attraction. So I've got 20. So I've got to release my fingers without moving the left hand and turn this around, because that's the only way I can do it. Trying to keep it in the same distance. So at the intersection of that one, 9.6 grams, 10 grams. It's half the amount of attraction at the intersection between the two poles. So right in the middle there, it's half the weight, effectively, of minus grams. So that is pulling less, because that little rectangular magnet that's perpendicular at an angle, like a Hallback array, similar to a Hallback array, where the Hallback array basically rediverts the flux and basically rotates it and collapses a field in one area and expands it in another area. What this is doing is collapsing the field right at the intersection between the two poles. So I'm seeing about 8 to 9 grams, which is hard to keep my hand still. So if I turn it to the intersection of one of the others, I'm not touching the scale. Let's see. Oh, right, I'm trying to keep this in exactly the same place. So it's about 18 grams, minus 18 grams. Let's just rotate to the other one, which has got no magnet on it. I'm going to get it in the middle. It's about 18. It's hard to keep my hand still. Go around to the one with the magnet in it. Oh shit, it's lifted it up now. That's one with a magnet in it. That's about 9-10 grams. Anyway, it definitely seems to have an effect. I can feel it with my hand anyway. So just take this off here. It's not exact science, this. I mean, it's very ad hoc because of the nature of this magnetism on the scale. It affects the scale as well a little bit, and it's not very good. Let me just try. Let me use the ball on the stick. Right, that is quite weak right there. It's pulling quite a lot there. You can see it moving. That's another way of doing it. Can I pull this along? Look, right in the section where that magnet is, look, can I pull it along? Look, it won't pull it, will it? It won't pull it. Let's see if it'll pull it on this one. No, it still won't pull it, but I can feel there's more drag. Just one side, it does pull it, look. Just like this with either side, and it does pull. Right, now this one, either side. Look how far over I am. So when I move over to the offset of the magnet there, it's not pulling there, but if I go further, it'll pull it. Right in the middle, it's not. There it does. There it does. Compared to that one without the magnet. Yeah, it pulls a lot quicker there, a lot easier. Actually, yeah. You can see the difference. I don't move it as far. So there's a definite effect of having that magnet there in collapsing the field. And can I see that on my viewing film? That's something that would be worthwhile, is if I can see it on the viewing film. Right, so here's the viewing film. I want to see it. Right, the one with the magnet in there. Oh yeah, you can see it. You can see where the field is collapsed in the middle there. You can see a little a shade. The light's reflecting on it now. Right in the middle, that's where that magnet is. You can see it, the shape, the distortion effect. Now let's go to one where there is no magnet in the middle. You can see the difference right there. Right, there's a definite difference. You've got a lot of white, a lot of blotch wall there. That's the area where you get the drag normally. So on that section without the magnet in the rectangle slot, there's a lot of white there, look. Go to the one that has the magnet, and we have an interruption there. You definitely see an interruption. It's a lot different. The black area is, the white area is where the flux is collapsed basically. So we can see that on there. There's a definite difference on there. Oops. Just letting it rest on it by itself. So we can see that. It's like an X-ray, isn't it? So that's where there's a magnet. And the other magnets are very strong there. And that's where there is no magnet in the middle. So we have a lot of white all in one area. So that's where it jumps normally, from one where the ball bearing jumps. So if I stick the ball bearing on here and I push it with my thumb at the intersection, which is right there, watch what that means. It jumps over, and that is the intersection between the two poles. On the one with the magnet, let's see. it jumps as well, but it's not as prominent. There's a weak area right there in the middle where it's weak. It releases. Can I pick it up? Actually, can I pick it up at that point? Oops, it moved. It keeps moving. I can't really do this test because it moves. It rolls. It wants to roll. Anyway, we can see it on the viewing film. So it's like a weird, because that rectangular magnet's in there, we're seeing the two poles basically collapsed on each side because of the magnet pulling that field inwards. So there's a weak spot right in the middle there, and where the rectangular magnet isn't, it's more continuous, but we say that the white blotch area in between, definitely different shape. Anyway, that is worth experimenting with on the next build, the next rotor design, because I wanted to improve the rotors a bit because I had a feeling that there was something not quite right. With them. I'll have to get that ink off there now because it'll stain one if I don't rub it off. Where's my isopropyl alcohol gone? I don't want to use acetone again because it'll melt it, it'll bond it into the plastic. It's when I drew that line around it. The reason I want to get this ink off here, because if there's any fractures happen later on, I want to be able to see them, and the blue just kind of makes it hard to see clearly what's going on. So anybody else having problems with Streamlabs telling you that you're over quota for some strange reason? Because I don't understand why I'm over quota when I haven't used it for a couple of days. Just get that ink off. Right, I've got that off. So anyway, I've got my magnets properly. I just need to put more rectangular magnets in there now, because now that I've seen the difference, I can put the other rectangular magnets in as well. But it's one of those things where you just have to keep testing and keep probing. So we have loads of attraction at the centre apex of the flux field right there. That's the strongest area. Right there. In the middle, not a lot. So when I was pulsing with my exit coils, you know, when I got my exit coils on there, and let me just let me grab one if I can reach it. So the idea was to, where the drag point is to have the coil is mounted obviously in the chassis the exterior, and when it went, the main generator coil is at the side of this thing. So as that's exiting it out of the delay line to send this pulse a little bit late, so it gets to about here, then it sends a pulse at that intersection right there. And I'm hoping that because I've retracted that field a bit, I shouldn't need to send as much of a pulse. It should negate some of the drag. That's the idea. It's usually where it's transitioning, you see. It's between the transitional point, and that's why it's smack bang in the middle. Yeah, that's definitely stronger there without the magnet in it. I mean, if I hold it about, with this bigger magnet, this bigger ball bearing, sorry, if I hold it about 1 millimetre from there, it still pulls in, look. But this one doesn't, look. Right. This bigger ball bearing is a much better test, look. When I go right close and touch it, look, it doesn't stick to it, look. Right there, look. It doesn't move this thing. But one without the magnet does. It's amazing what a difference a bigger ball bearing makes. Try the smaller one again. Ah, yeah, the smaller one, because it's lower mass, it is pulling, but not as much. You know, it's still getting the same effect. It's just a much smaller gap area. So I mean, the tolerance is much tighter. The tolerance between where it's not pulling it out is a lot tighter on the smaller ball bearing than it is on a larger one. The larger one, it's pulling like that, and on this one with a magnet in it, it's not, until I move to the one side, and then it'll pull. So yeah, it's definitely going to make a difference, this is. Go off to one side, it pulls. Yeah, I'm convinced that that's going to help. Anyway, I'm going to populate the others now. Where the hell? There we are. Stick on the outside. As it rotates, it flips over there, and that's exactly when it's naturally wanting to flip over. That's the one. That's the way it goes in there. I'll just get these ready and I'll super glue them in place. That's why I was filming it, because I thought, well, once I've super glued them in, it's going to be a bit difficult to explain this, so I thought, well, I'll just explain it, then glue them in place. That magnet keeps pulling out. Go in, stay. Right, I think they're in. can't remember which one I did now. I'll do them all again. Just all of them rectangular ones. That tube wants cleaning because it's getting a bit gooed up. So, I'm going to use a plastic thing to agitate that because I don't want to use metal because it's going to pull them out again probably. Right, so I am going to super glue them on both sides, I think. I'm just going to do them all. One drop in each hole. I think I've got them all. Right. Yeah, I still think I'd super glue them on both sides. Make sure they're not going to move, because if they shift over to one side and then that side's heavier than this side, it can cause this thing to oscillate. When it's running at high speed, it can start to twist and resonate if it's not perfectly in the middle, because the weight would be shifted over to one side. So when this is spinning at high speed, stop motion camera, you would probably see it doing that, wavering like that. So by keeping the magnets perfectly in the centre, it should minimise that from happening. The super glue coming out. I don't know on my hands. Time to clean this tube up because it's really gross. Oh. The neck of the bottle, if it gets too coked up with super glue on the tube, the lid can end up getting glued on. And have you ever tried to get your super glue lid off and it's super glued the lid on and you can't get the damn lid off at all, and you twist and then the neck of the bottle just snaps off? That's what's happened before to me, so I'm just keeping my bottle clean because there's a lot in here. There's about, actually how much is there? It says 20 grams, so there's actually a lot of super glue in here. I don't want to waste it. I've got a big bottle this time because I'm sick of those stupid little piddly tubes that have like 5 grams or 10 grams. They just don't last you 5 minutes. This was good value. It's Rapide. It's Rapide, or I don't know how you pronounce it where you are, but it's a good brand. I'm just trying to clean the neck up a bit. There's a bit of dry glue on the end. I'm not worried if I get super glue on my hands at this point. It's about acetone on this tissue paper, so I am safe. That's better. Right, I'll put the lid on now. I'll make sure there's nothing in the lid. Nope. That's better. It's how always happens to me normally if I don't clean the necks of the bottle, is the lids get stuck and you can't get the lid off. And it's really annoying when that happens. So I've got to wait a few days, probably something like the 4th or 5th of February. For the rest of the magnets to arrive. I've got a few I can put in, but I'm not going to put them in yet because it'll throw it out of balance. I was going to do a balance check on this before I put all of the magnets in there. I wanted to do a balance check. I've got my other one here. Oops. Stay away. So I'll take the bearings off. I'm going to push this shaft out of here. Come out. Ooh. And put that one over there. And we're going to do a balance check on it. If I can get the shaft in. It's a bit tight. Oh God. Oh God, I've got it stuck now. A minute. I need my drill. Just to ream it out a bit. Right, should fit now. What's happening is the acetone is slowly drying out and it's shrinking a little bit and it's tightening up on the drive shaft. There we go, it's going in now. Put my ruler so I don't go too far. Ow! Get in. Needs to go a bit more. Oh God, it's so tight. It's not sticking out far enough at the other end of the bearing. Right, hang on a minute. I'll stick the pliers underneath, stick the hole so I can push it down. Here's the wooden handle of the. What can I use to? Just a minute. Well, something fairly solid. What is this thing? Just a bit tight on the edge, that's all. I think that'll do. This bearing just goes right up to the plastic, and I I don't want it going on too far, so what I'll do is put a bit of glue, ordinary Yoo-hoo. It's oozing. I hate it when you take a tube off, take the lid off a tube of glue and it oozes everywhere. It's air pressure, probably it's changing. Just wipe a bit of that off. I just don't want this bearing going on too far. That'll do. Those bearings run really well, listen. The other one's a bit... Right, so I can do a balance check now. Remember, it's not been balanced yet and it's still saturated with acetone, so it's not going to be balanced out. I'm not going to be able to balance it out until I get all the magnets in there. Yeah, it's off balance slightly. Not much. It's not bad. If it was really bad, it would be wobbling all over the place. We'll see where it settles. So one way to balance it out is when you're putting the magnets in, is to find the heaviest side and weigh your magnets, but weigh the magnets and find the lightest magnets and put them on the heaviest side, and then the heavier magnets on the lighter side. Then you can help to balance it out. That's what I'm going to be doing when I get the rest of the magnets. And I do know that one of my magnets is a bit deformed. It's got a chunk missing out of it, and it was done like that when they manufactured it, because they chromed it and there's a bit of a chip missing out one end. So I'm probably going to stick that on the heavy side to help balance it out. This is catching on the stand a bit actually on one side as well. This is not perfectly in the middle. Right, so pen. I know I cleaned all ink off earlier, but I need to mark it the heavy side. So this is the heavy side. So I'm going to put a H right here, H, and L up here, and then I know which is heavy side, which is the lower side. And it's going to dry out for few days at least, and then I'm going to measure, check it again, see if it's still at the heavy side and if it hasn't moved. So now that I've got all of the magnets in there, let's do a drag test. It's not bad. Obviously when it gets to when these jump across, it will stop. seems to be better than the other one. Look, the other one, I can't compare it with it. Like, I've just taken the shaft out. I'm not going to I'm not going to fart about for another 20 minutes trying to get the dry shaft out of here again. I want it to dry with that shaft in it, because the shaft will prevent it from tightening up too much. So I've let it dry for a few days with on the stand, basically, like on there. Just let it dry for a few days. It will be more. It won't go out of kilter. So I'm thinking about this Streamlabs problem. Is it a problem? Is it possible someone hacked my account and someone's been using my bandwidth? I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway, I think that's it for now. I'm going to be ordering some more filament hopefully next week, and then I can get some more rotors done, because I had a little bit of filament. I think I was saying the other day I was out of filament, but I've actually got more than I realised. I thought there was about. I didn't think it was enough to do a drum, because based on the amount of time, and sometimes it says on it calculates, and it says on in the slicing program, it says how many meters you're going to need to print something, and I was looking at that and I thought, I don't think I've got enough, and then I thought maybe I do, because it was a 7-hour print, this drum. It took 7 hours to print it. I thought, well, I'll take a chance and see if it will, because I only had a bit left, and it managed to do it okay, and I've still got a bit of filament left, so it did pretty well, really. It's amazing how far it goes sometimes. It always surprises me how far printer filament seems to go. Anyway, I'm going to get off. At least I've explained something you might find useful.